Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the I'm So Done With Him Summit. I'm so grateful you've joined us today. I have an amazing speaker that you're going to be mind blown with all the information that she has to give you. Millen Livis. Millen, welcome to the summit, Millen. I'm so grateful to have you here. Millen is
Thank you so much for having me, Donna. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you so much. I know my listeners are going to be so blown away with all the information you have to give them, and they're going to leave this summit just so empowered, which is what I want women to leave this summit empowered. Millen is a holistic transformational coach, an energy healer, a writer, an entrepreneur, and a possibilities catalyst.
Grow your wealth, live on your terms.
You're just amazing, Millen. Yeah, and you've written so many books. I just want you to give a little bit of information about yourself to our listeners, please.
Thank you. I would say that my first probably title would be Holistic Financial Independence Mentor, because I help people who struggle with money worries, with anxiety about financial future.
Mm-hmm.
I help them to get to the place where they never worry about money again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I call being financially independent. So how I got to where I am right now and doing what I do right now, it's a long story. Let me just try to be as brief as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm a first-generation immigrant. I came to the United States from Lithuania over 30 years ago. Didn't speak English. Started as a florist assistant because I wanted to support my family. Even though I had master's degree in physics, I could not communicate, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how I started. Within 1 year, I self-taught English, and my first professional job was being IT consultant for Merrill Lynch. Mm-hmm. From there, I climbed the corporate ladder, and I was working for major Wall Street companies like Bankers Trust and Dean Witter and Morgan Stanley and Deutsche Bank, etc., American Express. And so I became a senior executive, and on the surface, my life was picture perfect, right? Yeah. I was living the American dream at that by that time, I already had a beautiful house in the suburbs of New York and New Jersey. I had a family, I had a new car, I had prestigious job, and you would say, what else someone will want? That was on the surface.
Yeah.
Below the surface, I felt like my soul was dying because my financially comfortable job became meaningless to me.
Yeah.
And my financially comfortable marriage was falling apart. It was a loveless marriage. We were living pretty much like roommates. Mm-hmm. And I cannot say that he was a bad person, but he was just not the right husband for me. So at some point I said, do you see yourself living that way for another 10, 20 years?
Yeah.
And the answer was resounding no.
Yeah.
And so that was the moment when I decided to dare and change my life. I was not clear. I didn't take time to really get clarity about like what exactly motivates me. So because I didn't know exactly what was my values, my core values, I decided to go to one of the most prestigious business schools in the United States, the Wharton Business School. So I went to this very expensive school 2 years later with a prestigious MBA degree and a lot of loans. I still was not sure what exactly that is important in my life because, by that time I was divorced. I was living in a rundown apartment in Hoboken, New Jersey, across the river from the downtown Manhattan where I used to work. And I still was searching. And that was the moment when I said, what exactly is important to you? What are your core values? Or what is like the top thing that is like non-negotiable? Mm-hmm. And the answer was freedom.
Yeah.
I didn't care about anything else. I wanted to experience freedom. But how to experience freedom? So the next question and the answer was, you have to be financially independent to experience freedom. So you don't depend on any man or partner, you don't depend on your boss, you don't depend on government. And that's when I set my course on becoming financially independent. And that was my North Star through the years.
Yeah.
And my journey was not easy. You know, when I decided to do that, just like you, we chatted before, I decided to develop multiple sources of income. And my first one of the sources that I wanted to develop was real estate. So I studied with the best, because I didn't have the skill sets at all. So I studied with the best investors, started the real estate investment company. And then, we were doing very well. I had business partners who were investing in different properties in the country. I had a team, and then 2008 happened. And, everything fell apart. And I fell apart with the company, with everything. And that's when I actually became financially broke. I had problem paying my rent. I was emotionally broken, depressed, and I was like contemplating how to end it all, because I just the shame, the guilt, it was just unbearable. And I was fortunate, by the grace of God, I was introduced to someone who happened to be a life coach. And he reminded me, because I kept saying, I'm such a failure, I'm such a failure. He reminded me that failure is not a person, it's an experience. It has the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
So he helped me to shift my perspectives on life, and what my perception of what's possible for me. And that's when my journey to financial independence really took off. And I started feeling better. I started thinking better. Within the next few years, I made really good investments, similar to you.
Yeah.
And I, within a few years, I became financially independent. And then I published my 2 books. One called A Shift Toward Purpose, Secrets to an Amazing Career. And then a year later, I published another book, A Shift Toward Abundance, Secrets to Financial Freedom. And when I published these books, I was like, what's next? Everybody expected that I will keep writing books. But I decided that I want to work with people, because a lot of people buy books, they get the knowledge, but then they don't act on what they know. And that's how I became holistic financial independence mentor. And because I believe that we live in a dual world, it's very important to have practical skills, but also to have emotional and spiritual intelligence. I decided to get certified in particular energy healing modalities. And here you go. I'm kind of like hybrid of very, very practical, former corporate Wall Street woman, and very woo-woo, so to speak, very spiritual. I'm deeply rooted in spiritual principles, and that's what I use when I work with my clients. Was it too long? I hope, because
that's
it's
amazing.
A lot of years to pack into
together. No, you've covered so many different points that I'll ask you questions about, but I think you're very different in that, like, you've worked in Wall Street, and it's a very male dominated environment, so that must have been very difficult for you as a woman working in that environment. But and also like I've gone to like financial advisors before, and I never feel that they really understand where I'm coming from, or have my interest at heart. They want to make money off the back of me, so I know that our approach and how our approach to money really affects whether we can be abundant or not. And you talk about energy and the energy of money as well, and the words that we use that will attract money to us. So how do you work when you bring on a client? How do you work with them?
So first of all, like I said, I think what differentiates me from other money coaches is the fact that I teach what I lived, right?
Yeah.
I know that, look, I was smart, I was experienced, and yet I crashed, and I was suicidal. Let me just put it bluntly.
Yeah.
So knowledge is not enough.
Yeah.
And what I learned from my journey, and that's why I decided to do what I do, is that it's not enough just to know what to do.
Yeah.
You have to feel inside that you able to do that, but not only believe, but also to know that you are blessed, that whatever you want to experience is not outside of your reach.
Yeah.
That you cannot have what you don't already have.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something that like I work on Wall Street, and it was very masculine environment and very male dominated environment, which is true. But what helped me to succeed there was that I always focus on solutions. I don't focus on things that impossible. Someone says it's impossible. I don't repeat this when I speak to myself, right?
Yeah.
We all speak to ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't allow myself to focus on and keep my focus for a long time on things that are difficult. I was like, okay, so that's the challenge that we have.
Yeah.
What solutions I could find? And I'm sure that you can resonate based on the story that you shared with me, that you can resonate with that as well, with this approach.
Yeah.
So I always teach, and when I work with clients, I always remind them that they have to focus on what they have.
Yeah.
And focus on what works, because that creates this frequency, elevated vibrational frequency, that is very important, because we attract what we emit.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to not just be a savvy money manager. Like you definitely need to know your cash flow, what is coming in, what is coming out. Not only get the skills and to know how to invest your money so your money works for you.
Yeah.
All of this is very important. But we talked about this before. Your mindset and your awareness of your inner power and the source of your inner power is crucial. Is crucial. Because I had clients who came to me, I mean, they were really good in terms of, they were saving money, they were making good money, but they never got themselves into the place where they didn't have to worry about money. The worry was always there, because it's not something that you can just do, accomplish by just doing. You can, certain things in life you can accomplish by being. Yeah. The way you communicate, the words that you use, right? We talked about this as well, because I believe that words have vibrational frequency. Yeah. And that's very important, how we communicate. And what is interesting, not only how we communicate with others, but also how we communicate with ourselves. Yeah, absolutely. And that's like this awareness and frankly discipline. Like, some people say, oh, I'm having challenging time, I just lost my job and stuff like that. Objectively, the reasoning is correct. Yeah. However, and I learned this intuitively when we just came to the United States. It's very important always focus on having and on what you're grateful for. Yeah. Okay. Because what you have will expand. And even if you have, not a lot of money in a bank account, be grateful for what you have and focus on how you can grow this. Yeah. So that's kind of like overall my approach. But to be specific, I basically I reverse engineered how I became financially independent. And I developed this, like I was trained as a scientist, right? So that's how I think, if then, right? So, and I came up with this method. Now I call it the millionaire method, not the millionaire, but the millionaire. And even though I can say that I'm self-made millionaire, so it's not a coincidence. So the millionaire method is a holistic system for becoming financially independent. And would you like me to share
Absolutely, yes,
yeah?
please. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. So, and this method has 4 pillars. So pillars that are practical and that are essential, but not maybe not practical, but essential for your success.
Yeah.
So the first pillar is you have to develop a wealth mindset.
Yeah.
Because many people have scarcity mindset, have consumer mindset, lacking mindset, right? So that's essential, and that's like a fundamental skill set. It's a skill set. You don't have to be born with this, right? That it's an essential skill set that you have to develop. The second pillar is you have to become financially savvy, right? You have to know the money that is coming in, the money that is coming out, how to maximize your cash flow, like the levers. I teach the 4 levers that people should use to maximize their cash flow. You have to really know your numbers.
Yeah.
And not only that, I also teach that in my approach, in my method, in order to be financially independent, you have to really assess or estimate your financial freedom number. What is the amount of money you need to get every month or maybe every year in order for you not to worry about money and feel that you can do whatever you want wherever you want, right? So all of this is part of this being financially savvy pillar. The third pillar is okay, so you have some money, you save some money, but you've got to find a way to make your money work for you. Because being financially independent means that you receive passive income, right? You can choose to work, but you don't have to work. Right? So, and for that to happen, you've got to have this skill set. You have to know how to invest strategically. Because some people trade, they do day trading, whether it's cryptocurrency or stocks. I don't trade, I invest. I invest long term, and I invest in assets that not only grow in value, but also offer passive income. So that's the third pillar. And the fourth pillar in my method is you have to leverage your inner power, your spiritual power, because you were designed in the image of God. And, if you're not comfortable with these terms, then probably you're not my client, because I was not raised as religious, but when I was going through challenging time, that was the moment. And, just imagine that my ego had to be shaken up so badly that I would like awaken to something that is different than I thought was absolute truth. And, whatever it takes, right? So that's when I realized that we're not alone, that there is a higher power, that there is a higher source that we can leverage. That's what I call intuition, when you're able to connect to your highest self, because I believe that there is a self with a small s, which is basically our ego. And there is a self with the capital S, which is your divine nature. And this awareness alone will help you with any endeavor that you undertake in life. So that's why I also teach spiritual principles of wealth, abundance. All of this is incorporated in my programs, in my personal mentoring, etc. Because that's what helped me to develop a truly remarkable life. Because now, go ahead.
Sorry, that's amazing, because you speak about intuition as well being really important, and listening to that. Like we get sent messages all the time, and we need to listen to them. That's really, really important. I think with your experience in your past, and you having listened to your intuition in the past, and that's made you make huge changes in your life. And I want to impart to our listeners that has been so important to me as well, especially making that speaking to people who are going through a separation and divorce, and women specifically, listening listening to my intuition and finding that. I want to tell you a little story, because this is, I have to, what's such an important one. So one of the things that made me decide to separate from my husband was this one day I'm leaving. I used to train as a personal trainer. I'm leaving my job, walking out of the office, and there was a gold coin on the floor, a loonie. And something said to me, go back and pick it up. It was like a voice. And this is this intuition, right? So I never pick up money off the floor, but I'm like, what? That's really weird. So I walk back, I pick the coin off the floor, and I drop it in the side of my purse. I go to my car, and I was borrowing my husband. I was using my husband's car for that day, and he'd use my van to take the children to school for the day. And when I got in his car, and we were going through a bad time for a while, there was a little envelope in the car that said the bank, and it's like a lockbox bank. And I'm like, that's really strange. Why is there a lockbox envelope in my husband's car? I had a number on it and everything, and I picked the keys up for the car, and the keys dangling there, sparkling for this lockbox. I was like, oh my goodness, this is strange. And then, from that process, I ended up going and checking this out. And that's when I found out that money was being hid and all these kind of things. And it was a voice that told me this. It was the strangest thing. And that's what led to me starting the process. But I just want to say how important it is. And we don't realize that there's so much more going on around us that guides us, that we have to listen to,
And what is interesting, I love your story. Thank you so much for sharing it. What is interesting that it's almost like we all have access to this enormous database, like this universal database. We all have access to this. And like you said, the signals are sent to all of us.
Yeah.
But not many people are open to receive the signals, to receive these messages, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's, I believe that intuition is another thing. You can develop this.
Yeah.
If you don't have it right now, don't feel like, unfortunately, I'm not that person. You can develop this, and there are ways to do that. So anyway, so it's a beautiful story. Thank you. And so important. And something else that I think another lesson in your story is that even if you're married, don't assume that you can just live happily ever after and never worry about money, never know what is going on with your money, and just delegate everything to your husband. No. It's not the world we live in right now.
Absolutely.
Women must, I don't like to shoot you, but basically you've got to know what is happening with your finances in your family.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. And to go back to that point as well, that was a huge life lesson for me, like phenomenally huge. I was married to my husband for 20 years. I worked in and out, but we'd had businesses in the UK, and I would be at home raising the children, and he would be working in London, high-powered job. And then when we moved to Canada, he'd be flying all over the place, and I'd be at home with the kids and would earn a little bit of money here and there when I could. But he was the breadwinner. He controlled our finances. I own that, and I took responsibility for not playing more of a part in the financial side, because I was brought up in a traditional way that the man does that. You're at home with the kids, you raise your children. That was how I was brought up. My mindset has changed so much since then, but I put all that, I gave him that power. I gave my power away to somebody else. And I want women to realize that we have to take control of our finances. Because if you don't, it's like, it can be, I was left in a situation where I had no access to money when I left my husband. I had no control, and it was scary time of my life. But I faced my fears. I didn't want to leave my husband. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't do this on my own. I don't earn as much money as him. I will never. I'm a woman. I don't have this. I don't have that. I had to change my mindset.
You were focusing on what was not working.
What was not
focusing on why you cannot live.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the biggest change for me. And having said this, like you were talking about, don't think that because we had a nice house, we had 2 cars, our life on the outside looked really lovely, but on the inside, my soul was so depleted and empty, because I knew I had a bigger purpose than living in his house, and obviously I love my children. They're my biggest like, they're amazing, and but there was something else I needed to achieve, and I wasn't doing it, and so that's why in the end I had to leave my husband. And my life has changed phenomenally. I have control over what I do. My life is beautiful, and I've changed my mindset. And I want women to realize that, like, doing this is just you just have to explain your method even more, Millen, because we were talking about the fact that I last year put up my vision board, and I said I want to be able to buy my own house without having to depend on my ex-husband. I want to be able to buy my own car. I've never bought my own car before. I put 3 houses on my board, a Range Rover, and I looked at it the other month. I'm like, oh my goodness, I've bought 4 houses and I have an SUV. How did that happen? Because I put it out there that that's what I was going to have, and I knew that I would be having that.
Yeah, something else I just want to say. I love what you shared about your accomplishments. It's very impressive and very inspiring for many women who are listening to you and me right now. But I also had a board, and since I was a young girl, I always was into like French culture, French singers, French design. And guess what? It's amazing. It's amazing how the universe works.
Yeah.
Now I live in 2 countries. I live in the south of France and
Yeah.
South Florida, right? So,
amazing.
and I, just like you, I also realized things that I thought would never be possible to someone who just, like when I came to the States, for God's sake, I couldn't even speak the language.
That's amazing. Right? Yeah.
So it's amazing what is possible for you. And in order to turn your potentiality into actuality, you've got to become that person who emits these frequencies, right? So it's not just about what you have, it's who you become.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I think, and we spoke about this as well, one of the most important things is the gratitude for what you have already, and when you realize that, so, and then I'm going back to that as well. So when I moved out of my house from my husband, I have such a clear picture in my head, sitting in my mum van with my 5 children in the back and having nowhere to live. I had to take them to a hotel, right? And I look back and I'm like, oh my goodness, I've gone from having a house, 2 great cars, and I have no home now. And I've got 5 children in the back of the car that I need to go and stay in a hotel with. I don't even know where I'm going to be living and whatever. And that, I faced my fear. I was like, I have to do this for myself and my children. And that has been such a driving force for me. And being grateful, just having that gratitude, I'm like, I have food on my plate every day. I was able to have a roof over my head, and I have 5 amazing children. I'm so grateful for that. And building on that every day, being grateful for what I have, has been huge, amazing. Excuse me,
that's beautiful.
In the background.
Yeah, it's okay. It's beautiful you're sharing, and your intuitive wisdom, right? That's what helped you to go through this very challenging phase in your life.
Yeah,
but look at you now. Look what you're able to
honestly, it's and I want the women to realize that it's so doable, and mindset and our energy and realizing what we have is like phenomenal,
And then something else, I just want to say something. I called my company Dare to Change Life.
Yeah,
that's the name of my website, Dare to Change Life, because .com, because a lot of people kind of coast or live by default until a health scare or devastating divorce or bankruptcy or something that happens in their life shakes them up to their core, and they have to change. And what I'm saying is that don't wait for this wake-up call from life, because it could be very painful. I don't recommend to go through what I went through, but you know what, I say, if that's what it took for me to become the person I am right now, who, like right now, I'm so different than when I used to, the way I used to be back then. If that's what it took, then that's what it had to take. So just don't wait for the painful wake-up call from life. Just choose, because you can choose to change your life if you're not where you want to be, and you don't have to wait for someone else outside of yourself to do something for you. Like my father used to say, if you want something in life, don't expect your parents or your husbands or he was talking to me and my sister, your husbands or your government to give it to you.
Yeah.
You have to create it yourself. So
yeah, absolutely. And I love that as well, because now you've remarried and you live between two different countries, the south of France. I would love to live in the south of France. I absolutely love it. But you talking about
put it on your
I am going to, and that's what I was going to say is now I can afford to get my nails done when I want to. I've never been able to do that and get my hair done. And that having that power to say, I can do it whenever I want to. I don't have to ask anybody, say, is it okay if I get my nails done this week? Can I have my hair done? You know, oh my goodness, it's just the best feeling ever. But relating to having my nails done, when I've been having a manicure, they have this screen playing in the background of these travelers who vlog about where they're traveling throughout the world, and music's playing. And this has been coming to me so many times when I've been in there, and I need to be able to up and go to a different country when I want to. And this is what I'm feeling now. I live in Canada. 6 months of the year, it's freezing cold. You know, we are in winter for 6 months. I don't want this in my life. So this is what I'm deciding. I'm putting on my board. I'm going to move to a warm climate. I'm going to make it happen, because
move to Florida.
Yeah, no, exactly.
There are a lot of Canadians here, by the way, a lot.
Yeah, I need to do something like this, because I know that I'm feeling it, and it keeps coming back to me. This is not, I love Canada 6 months of the year, but this is not me the whole year. I can't be living in snow for this. So I'm going to change that, right? I'm going to put it on my board, and I'm going to, maybe, is there anywhere near you, Millen? I might move down near you.
Nice try. Nice try. Look, I like that you're listening to your intuition, that you're definitely paying attention, and I'm pretty sure it will happen for you.
Yeah, oh, thank you so much, Millen. I'm so grateful. I wanted to tell our listeners about your amazing gift, and if everybody who's listening has to take you up on this, because it's a gift of a lifetime. Like that, you tell them about the gift that you're offering, Millen.
Okay, so I just want to start with the question that I've been asked quite often, and so people hear my story, they get inspired, and they like, what can I do in my life to get to the point where I don't need to worry about money again? And for me to answer this question, because I have to talk to you, because we all are in different phases in life. We all have different situations, different experiences, different skill sets. So that's why I said, and I have a lot of books that I offer to my clients and my people who follow me on social media. But I said, I want to offer them complimentary consultation where it's almost like I will diagnose what is your best next step might be.
Yeah.
I call this complimentary consultation, Never Worry About Money Again. It's a 30 minutes consultation with me. The value is $500. And I want to offer this to you for free, because I don't want you to guess what is your next best step. I want us to brainstorm together. And so you can book this consultation at speakwithmillen.com. Just go to speakwithmillen.com and book this consultation as soon as possible, so you could start your journey right away, or start or maybe continue your journey, because some of you may be already in a place where you invest in and you have some savings, and you just want to see how you could design the entire journey. Like when you want to travel somewhere, you usually plan where you want to stop, what transportation you will use. It's pretty much the same with journey to financial independence, right? So let's connect, let's chat. Again, this is speakwithmillen.com. And I really encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity.
Absolutely, it's an amazing opportunity, and I'm gonna be booking 30 minutes with you as well, Millen. But that is phenomenal. Thank you so much for that. That's amazing. And where can everybody find you?
So my website is daretochange.life.com. I'm on Instagram, daretochange.life.com, Dare to Change Life. At Dare to Change Life. On LinkedIn, I'm as Millen Livis, and Dare to Change Life as well. And I also have YouTube channel. It's called Millen Livis Channel Wealth, where I constantly, every week I record some mini trainings, whether it's about investing, whether it's about mindset. You can find a lot of free resources there. You can also check my blog on daretochange.life.com. There are articles that I write, again, about everything: managing money, investing money, developing wealth mindset. So these are free resources. On Amazon, you can check out my books.
Yeah.
One of them on the upper shelf, it's called A Shift Toward Abundance, or A Shift Toward Purpose, because I think for me, it was a very, very important shift that started the whole transformation in my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm pretty much Facebook. On Facebook, it's a page called Dare to Change Life. Very easy, right? And I also have my own group on Facebook. It's called the Wealth Building for Powerful Women. So if that's something of interest to you, come apply to this to join us in this group. So yeah, I'm omnipresent, so to speak.
Perfect. Oh,
or trying to be.
Yep. So listeners, make sure you connect with Millen, because you'll honestly, you will be so empowered, and you'll be on your way to gaining financial freedom if you just listen and take on board the advice that Millen has to offer you, which is phenomenal and mind-blowing. Honestly, when you start implementing what she tells you to, the shifts will be amazing. So please do connect with Millen. You will not regret it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for having you, Millen. Honestly, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us today.